Hey, shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Chodesh. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom. Hey, shalom, beloved Akiyam and Akwath. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power and mercy of our power, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. And I just want to get into a brief live stream, before the plantation as usual, through the spirit and power, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, regarding this raid that took place over at this Hyundai factory in Georgia. I'm sure you brothers and sisters are aware of. And there's a few spiritual things I want to speak on regarding that incident. I got a few videos I want to share as well, talking to the situation. And pretty much, make a few points, through the spirit, based off what's being drawn out, over there with that event. And as you can see by the title, everything is backfiring on Esau. Okay? Everything's backfiring on him, man. All right, here it is. Esau's in the mindset, right, that he's just gonna, and I'm talking as far as Trump is concerned, right, that they're gonna just bring forth this ICE team, okay, and just clean up America, right? All right, get all the undocumented out, all the immigrants, quote unquote, right? And we know the face of this whole ICE, agenda or campaign or whatever you want to call it. The face of it, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, and then you got a few Koreans and Japanese or what have you that got caught up in it over at that Hyundai factory, and watch how that played out. All right, watch how that played out, man. And it sheds a lot of light. It sheds light on a lot of different things, man. First and foremost, the reality of us Jake being Esau's arch enemy, man. Like him hating us. You see, him truly hating us, man. But ultimately, it stems back to the Lord. The Lord, pretty much put us in a position where he's our only help. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai is our only help. These other nations can, reach out to their political leader, and get delivered out of the snares of the fowler. All right, and that's what you're gonna witness here. But the scenario is not the same for Jake. But needless to say, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, I want to get this precept real quick. The book of Jeremiah. All right, because at the end of the day, let me see something real quick. Because at the end of the day, okay, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. Bear with me. All right, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, right? He has a plan, right, to bring forth a fourth industrial revolution, as we're aware of. All right, and right now he's pretty much trying to finalize the infrastructure, okay, by pretty much cleaning up the society as we know it in his eyes, right? This is why he's on his way. Right now they're on their way to they're saving Chicago. They're on their way to Memphis, if I'm not mistaken, right? To and they're gonna go to Chicago, I guess, next or what have you. But needless to say, in this raid in Georgia, right? Esau being so trigger happy, for lack of better words, right? Gun-ho, right? Even though these individuals had valid visas on them, all right, they still locked them up. They still locked them up because because ultimately there's a specific amount of individuals they need to catch a day. Okay, there's a quota that they got to meet. So they seeing all these I forgot how many there were. It's gonna mention it in the video. And they were like, oh, we're about to cash out, totally disregarding the reality of the legalized status they were in. And ultimately, Here it is. You got these internationals at this factory, and the part of this factory, it's Hyundai, right? So economically, this incident right here is gonna affect Babylon, man. You know, another error, okay, by the ruler, okay. And then you're gonna see how Trump's trying to cover his tracks, and supposedly he made a phone call to free him up, and then ICE didn't free him up, and they were locked up that much longer. Now they don't want to come back. Let's get this. Jeremiah 49:7, and it reads, "This is what the Lord Yahweh Almighty said about Edom," right? And the heading on this is the Lord's judgment on Edom, okay, and that's what's coming. All right, this is in Edom being Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, as we know, right? This is what the Lord Yahweh Almighty said about Edom. Have the people of Edom lost their good judgment? Can their advisors no longer tell them what to do? Okay, has all their wisdom disappeared? All right, and you see it in their actions that they're not using wisdom. Okay, they're moving in a haste. All right, Esau's moving sloppy, and ultimately, he's making mistakes as he pursues this diabolical plan, right? He's making mistakes, man. Okay, he's making mistakes because ultimately it's the Lord snaring him. He's falling headlong, as the scriptures say. I believe that's Job 5. Lord willing, we'll grab that. But what I want to do is I want to grab this first clip. Let me grab this one. Now this is fair use. All right, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this. All right, fair use. All right, fair use. Now this is from Global Construction Review, and it came across my feed. This is what triggered the lesson right here. This video right here, and then I end up stumbling upon another one from Geopolitical Economy Report, which pretty much backs up this one. All right, but needless to say, we'll play this one first from Global Construction Review, and the title of the video is "ICE Knows They Screwed Up." Right, Korean detainees lawyer on chaotic raid at Georgia battery plant. So it was the battery plant. Now check this out. Bear with me.
What's the state of play for the 11 clients you had when we last spoke?
They are at the airport in Atlanta. They left the detention facility this morning at 1:45 or so on buses provided by Hyundai. Rather than ICE, they were released without going out in handcuffs, which was apparently the main hang-up for not departing on Wednesday. And they all can come back to the United States. This is weird. It's weird because why are they leaving if they can all come back? Generally speaking, ICE will tell you, oh, they all took voluntary departure. Voluntary departure is a legal thing. I mean, it's a statute that says if you leave, generally you're free to come back, but you do certain things when you take voluntary departure. You say, I agree that I violated the law, but you're going to let me come back with a new visa. But these folks don't need a new visa. So it's not really voluntary departure. It's more of a legal fiction. And I don't want to say an ICE cover-up, but it's certainly a glaze on the cake, so to speak, of ICE's errors here in detaining these innocent Koreans and Japanese folks for the last 6 days.
What process led to the release of your Korean clients?
Oh, I think the president of Korea calling President Trump is what led to the release of these individuals, as well as the 3 or 4 Japanese that were also detained at the same time. This would not have happened without direct intervention abroad. We would have obviously gone to court eventually and gotten a court order and had these guys released, but they would have been in custody for weeks and weeks longer. So the direct intervention was absolutely essential as part of this. And I'm sorry it took that, but it was absolutely necessary. An interesting thing happened yesterday. The foreign minister came to America with them on the plane and went to D.C. to meet with the Secretary Rubio. And the American readout of that meeting didn't mention the Hyundai plant, which is odd, since that was the reason the foreign minister came. But the Korean language readout was absolutely all about the Hyundai plan, including stating that President Trump had given a direct order to ICE to release these individuals and ensure that they could come back to the United States. It's no surprise that the American readout didn't include that, because that makes you understand the massive error that ICE made here in detaining these individuals.
The ICE
Right.
press release.
And of course, you didn't see that in the American readout because they're always trying to cover something up, right? They're always trying to cover up their dirty tracks, you know. But no, it was a talking point with those Koreans at that meeting. That was the talking point, you know. But notice how it only took a phone call to free them up. But here it is. You got Jake, and we got videos all over. There's videos all over the place. All right, with Jake getting caught up by ICE, and here it is. They're a citizen. They got their papers, you know. Their girlfriend's talking about he's an ex-military. Still got him. Still took him. And no word on him coming out. There's no word on any Jake. I haven't heard anything regarding Jake's getting caught up and Jake's getting freed. No, they're getting sent to Alligator Alcatraz, man. And various other detention centers that they got scattered around, man. There's no reports on Jake getting freed up. All right, which just shows that not only did it show that we're the people of the Lord, but ultimately Esau is our arch enemy, man. All right, as well as these other nations. You see, Psalms the 83rd chapter. All right, there's no one coming to free you up, Jake, on this side. Okay, but here it is. These Koreans and Japs there was a phone call made. All right, and their political leaders are making moves necessary and getting them freed up. Okay, this testifies to the reality of this thing, man. You know, but you Jake still won't get it. You know what I mean? You Jake still don't realize that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is our help. Okay, that on this side we're coined as let me get a quick precept. I think that's Isaiah 41 and 14. We're coined as worms, man. We're poor on this side in the sense of what? We have no standing military. All right, we have no seat. All right, on this political stage, on this world stage, politically. Right? The only help we have is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? He's our strength. He's our shield. He's our buckler. And you Jake that getting caught up by ICE and the rest of these and you Jake getting caught up in these calamities within this society and getting caught up by ICE or what have you is because you don't believe in your power. Where am I going? Isaiah 41 and 14. And it reads, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob." Right? And Jacob is synonymous with Israel. All right? Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes. You see? So listen. The Lord's saying, "Fear not, thy worm Jacob," right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. "And ye men of Israel, man, I will help thee." And only the elect are going to get help. All right? On this side. Only the elect are going to get help. Why? Because the elect would have repented. The elect would have been walking the path of righteousness to the best of their ability. The elect would have been being obedient. Right? The elect would have been seeking the Lord's face. Okay? This is what the elect would have been doing. So guess what? The Lord's going to help the elect on this side. Right? 2/3 of you are not even in this conversation. But anyways, "I will help thee, saith the Lord Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel," man. Okay, and this is the reality. This is the scenario that we're in. We need Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. That's the only way we're going to get delivered from these situations, man. All right, but again, you Jake don't understand that, and that's why you're getting caught up. You see? And look at these heathen, man. All right, a phone call made to their political leader, and they're freed up. Let me show you this other clip, talking to this one. Right? And ultimately showing that everything that what happened over there in Georgia, that backfired on Evil E. Okay? Now you got Trump begging them Korean workers to come back. Yo, a lot of them don't want to come back. They're like, hell no, man. You know what I mean? Not after going through that experience. You know? Everything's just falling apart for Esau. Let me get this clip. Did I lose it? Bear with me. I know I had it already. Let me see here. Here we go.
U.S. President Donald Trump has been imposing a series of unequal trade agreements on other countries, including longtime U.S. President Donald Trump has been imposing a series of unequal trade agreements on other countries, including longtime U.S. allies, that hurt their economies in order to benefit the U.S. economy. A good example of this is South Korea. Now, for many decades, South Korea has been one of the closest allies of the United States. In fact, South Korea has been militarily occupied by the U.S. for over 70 years. And Trump has imposed an unequal treaty on Korea in which the U.S. will impose 15% tariffs on Korean exports, but Korea is not allowed to retaliate and put tariffs on U.S. exports. But that's not all. Trump has been humiliating Korea, and the U.S. immigration agency, ICE, carried out a raid against a major Korean factory in Georgia and detained more than 300 South Korean workers in humiliating circumstances, putting handcuffs on them and treating them like criminals. This has outraged people in South Korea from across the political spectrum, from the left to the right. Media outlets have been condemning this abuse of South Korean workers and portraying their treatment as those of prisoners of war, depicting Trump as an aggressive tyrant. And this whole scandal is also deeply hypocritical because Trump has claimed that he wants to reindustrialize the US, but he's now attacking foreign investors who have been building factories in the US. The Financial Times noted that the major South Korean companies Hyundai and LG already invested $20 billion in this factory in Georgia, and they had plans to invest another $20 billion. This is why a South Korean government told the Financial Times that the U.S. has put these South Korean companies in a, quote, impossible position, end quote. And as the FT wrote, quote, successive U.S. governments push them to invest billions of dollars in reviving American industry while refusing to facilitate short-term working visas for projects to be completed on time, end quote. And this article interviewed the head of research at the Korea International Trade Association, who said, quote, the U.S. government is two-faced. It is asking Korea to invest more in the U.S. while treating Korean workers like criminals, even when it is well aware that they are needed for these projects to happen, end quote. And that is because the U.S. does not have the skilled workers who know how to actually build these high-tech factories and create these high-tech manufactured goods. But instead of training American workers to be technicians and engineers to work in and help to design these factories, the Trump administration is doing the exact opposite. Trump signed an executive order to abolish the Department of Education. So the result of Trump's very aggressive policies is that, one, the U.S. is not reindustrializing. He's not bringing back manufacturing jobs. The contrary is happening. And two, Trump is alienating longtime U.S. allies like Japan and South Korea that, again, remain militarily occupied by the U.S. And even they are now looking to diversify their foreign relations, and they're improving their relations with China and trading more with China as their people domestically are outraged by the blatant U.S. attacks on their sovereignty. And in order to discuss this in further detail, I have the...
And three, everything's backfiring on Esau. You see? Everything's backfiring on him. Okay? It's not going the way he's planning it. Okay? Lamentations 3, one of my favorite precepts. Who is he that saith? And it cometh to pass, but the Lord commanded it not. The Lord has Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, in a conundrum. He's in a tight spot. He's in between a rock and a hard place. Hands tied behind his back against the wall. Okay? And now he's reaching. As we say, as we say, as brothers, you already know, he's reaching. He's reaching, just to get crossed up, passed up, and dunked on. Okay? Let's go here real quick. Let's go to the book of Job. I had mentioned it earlier. It came back to me regarding him falling headlong, man. You see? As a matter of fact, let's get it in the well, let's read it in the KJV first, and then we can get it in the Good News Bible through the Spirit. Yeah, man. And Esau's in a position where he's losing. He's losing, and he's gonna lose. Now he's fighting and scratching and clawing, all right, to stay in the position that he's not destined to stay in. You see? So the moves he's making, the decisions he's making, they're gonna always backfire on him up until the very end. You see? Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is finished. He knows he's finished. You see what's going on over there in what is it, Kansas, with these farmers? Okay? Now all this is a backfiring effect, right? A boomerang effect based off what they did to the Northern Kingdom, man. You see? Showing you that what? Us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we're the gasoline of this society, man. Okay? As much as these red belly Edomites don't want to admit it, these regular Joe Sixpacks that really don't know nothing, you know, Jake is the gasoline of this thing, man. Okay? When you go into history, any flourishing, thriving empire, Jake was in their possession. You see? Jake was in their possession. Let's go here. The book of Job, chapter 5. Is it Job 5? Yeah, it's Job 5. The book of Job, chapter 5. And Job was a prophet, by the way. For those of you out there that don't know that. Job was a prophet and also a representation of the elect, man. All right, the book of Job, chapter 5. And verse 12. Verse 13 is the point. We're going to get this in the Good News Bible as well. Job chapter 5 and 12, and it reads, he disappointed the devices of the crafty. Right? And the device goes into a plan or a plot. All right, so it's saying he disappointed. Who's he? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He disappointed the plans, okay, the plots of the crafty, evil E. Right? Starting with the global elite, trickling all the way down to the regular Joe Sixpack. So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, man. Okay, ultimately, as it tells us in Proverbs 21, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. See? So Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, where scripture said the deceived and the deceiver are his. So he's controlling the narrative. As much as Esau thinks he's controlling this thing, okay, he's not. He's a puppet, okay, in the movie of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right? Verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And the counsel of the froward, right, is carried headlong, man. Okay? Failed mission. Esau's on a failed mission. Let's get this in the Good News Bible, because I know it's probably going to hit. Or not, because sometimes it's a miss. It's a hit or miss. Old Testament, Job 5, and what was that, 12 and 13? Yeah, there it goes. Let me start at 11. It says, yes, it is Yah. It says God, I'll read it verbatim. Yes, it is God who raises the humble and gives joy to all who mourn. Right? See, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is controlling the narrative. Right? He sets up the plans of cunning people. See? Because he's the puppet master, right? And traps the wise in their own schemes so that nothing they do succeeds, man. And this is why everything's backfiring on Esau, man. And we're here relishing in every moment of it, man. Okay? Seeing this dude stumble upstairs as he as he makes his way up on the president's airplane, the president's jet. We've seen Biden and Trump trip upstairs. Okay, come on, man. Those are all. That's a token and a sign, you know, of the times of the fall of evil. Man, evil E's falling, man. This is heavy, man. Let me read this one more time. Right? He upsets the plans of cunning people and traps the wise in their own schemes so that nothing they do succeeds, man. So that nothing they do succeeds. The water, the Air Force One. We seen Biden and Trump trip up the stairs to the Air Force One, man. That's not a coincidence, and that's not just happening. Okay? That's the Lord showing us Babylon has fallen, man. It's over for Esau, man. And this is why he's tearing at the seam. That's the spirit. He's tearing at the seam. Okay? And you would think his little ice regime, you know, will be help, will help, fulfill his desires or what have you. But in reality, they're causing more problems in themselves than good. Now they done effed up the whole situation they got in Georgia with that battery plant. Okay, via Hyundai, man. Them Koreans and Japs are like, we ain't going back over there, man. You're gonna have to send somebody else, cause we ain't going through that again. Them niggas are two-faced. You heard the other article? They're saying that they're two-faced, man. You got the Koreans talking about, yeah, the Americans are two-faced. America's being called out. All right, she's now shamed. Let me close out with this. See, this place is no longer the golden cup in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's hand. No longer is the schemes of Esau, right? Which is his counsel is through the left hand side, right? It's no longer to any effect. Okay, the spiritual demon saying is no longer dealing with him like that. This is why he's looking crazy. He's looking foolish. Let's see here. What is that? Is that Habakkuk? Yep, all good things must come to an end. Right? Evil E. Where's this at? Shame for glory. I could have sworn that was Habakkuk the second chapter. I must be looking right over it. Like I said. Ooh, there it goes. I was looking right past it. I thought I just seen it. Am I tripping? Glory. There it goes. 16. Satan's working. I was looking right over it. The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. I should know that. Let me see. Start up. I'll go right to the point. Right? The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Okay? Esau's filled with shame for glory, man. Okay, he should be in the position, where, he's glorifying the end of his rule. He's able to, reminisce on all the great things he's done for humanity and the world, and, throughout the course of his reign, he's done so much good things for the world, for the animals, for the ecosystem, for, you know what I mean, for mankind, whatever. No, man, that's not the reality of this man's history. All right, his history is full of shame. All right, to the point where they're actually trying to cover up their tracks, okay, via museums and statues they erected and all types of relics and history and talking points that have come out, and the Georgia Guidestone. They're trying to cover up their shit because they in reality they have a history of a reign of terror, okay, of shedding blood, of stealing, of colonizing, lying. This is his history, man. So look, thou art filled, Habakkuk 2 and 16. Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also and let thy foreskin be uncovered, man. Okay, you are going to drink the wrath, all right, the indignation of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's cup, which ultimately, by definition, is you going into captivity, man. This is what's coming for you, all right? This is why there's a black cloud over you Edomites, man, to the point where you're driven to make a TikTok video talking about how things don't feel the same, things don't feel right, something's off, I can't explain it, I want to cry, but I can't. You see? Because you feel that that cup being slid your way. That cup's coming. Okay? You're gonna drink that cup, right? And let thy foreskin be uncovered, right? Your foreskin. This nigga's uncircumcised phallus is showing. He's being exposed. All right, is what this is saying, right? The cup of the Lord's right hand, the cup of Yahweh's right hand, shall be turned unto thee. Okay, you're gonna drink. Pursuant to Revelations 18, you're getting two cups, right? And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory, man. Again, like the Korean said, America's two-faced, man. And they're not the only ones that have something to say about this place, man. Okay? All these nations got something to say about this whore, man. Because this is the time we're living in. This is the reality, man. There's a shameful spewing on this bitch's glory, bro. And we here. The Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for that. Let me hit the comment board real quick before I close out. I see the beloved brothers. I believe that's Kazak posting up. Let me see what you got, brother. Hey, and shalom to you, beloved Aki Aminakwat on the comment board. To you, beloved Aki Aminakwat that are going to be tuning in later. Hey, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham. To you, beloved Aki Aminakwat. All right, now let me see what we got. Hey, shalom, beloved brother Araya. That's my beloved brother in arms right there. Shalom, beloved Malak. Hey, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, brother. Shalom. All right, let me get this from the beloved brother Kazak Ban Yahweh before I close out real quick. Woo, brother, you always be posting that fire right on time. Let's see here. Damn. You know what? I'm going to get this right here. The book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, from the beloved brother Kazak Ban Yahweh, right? Chapter 27 and verse 27. And it reads, he that worketh mischief, it shall fall upon him. Okay? And he shall not know whence it cometh, man. And that reminds me of the scripture, he that rolleth the stone, right? It shall roll back on him, right? Come on, man. Right? He that worketh mischief shall fall upon him, and he shall not know whence it cometh. Mockery and reproach are from the proud, but vengeance as a lion shall lie in wait for him. Beautiful, all right, and this is why Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, all right, he's the there's three classifications of men, all right, and he's the son of perdition, right? He's the son of the wicked, all right. He's the third part of man. The base man, all right? And that word perdition goes into destruction, okay? So Esau was created to be destroyed, all right? He was that vessel, okay, that the Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai created just to destroy it at the end of the movie, man. Yup. And that's what the Lord can do that. The Lord can do that. This is his movie, man. He's the potter, right? Ecclesiasticus 27 and 20, chapter 27 and verse 29. They that rejoice at the fall of the righteous shall be taken in the snare, and anguish shall consume them before they die. Malice and wrath, even these are abominations, and the sinful man shall have them both, man. Job 27. If his children be multiplied, it's for the sword, man. Okay? It's for the sword. Esau has a bill he's got to pay that he can't pay back with money, gold, silver, or a sorry, or a reparation. No, Esau's got to pay this back in blood. All right? And guess what? That's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to require. All right? And there's no ins and outs and ifs or buts, or it's going to go down that way. And there's nothing Esau can do to avoid it. And that's what he's trying to avoid. You know, but he can't. You see? And it's beautiful. I'm going to leave it right there. It's beautiful, man, because we're seeing this happen real time, right in our face. You know, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has allowed us to witness, all right, the fall of our arch enemy, man. And those of us that have eyes to see and ears to hear, we can clearly see the errors, okay, that Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is committing. You know, as he tries to continue this image, you know, of a perfect, upright, you know, innocent barbarian. Because that's truly what he is. He's a barbarian. But he puts on this facade, right, with a three-piece suit, a tie and a comb over, that he's innocent and he's always right. He has these $1 million words, and you know he's got the last word, and you know. But in reality, no, this man is violent. All right, he's dangerous. All right, and you got to make sure you be careful around this man. All right, this is a dangerous dude, man. All right, but all his treachery is coming to the light. All right, to the point now where it's playing upon tables, man. Okay, everything is backfiring on Esau. I'm gonna leave you with that, beloved Akiam and Nakwaf. Hey, the water for tuning in, the water for your precepts. Hey, Lord willing, you beloved Akiam and Nakwaf were edified, you know, and spiritually fed, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, man. I'm gonna leave you with that, beloved Akiam and Nakwaf. I gotta run. Hey, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kwadash. A double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. And again, a Lord willing, you beloved Akiam and Akwaf were edified and spiritually fed through the spiritual power, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.